Welcome everyone. In history segment in Group 1 services mains, especially AP history, you can also expect some questions which are thematic questions. Now, what do you mean by thematic questions? Instead of asking about a particular dynasty or particular period, they can be a broad question. For example, rise and growth of Buddhism in Andhra or Jainism for that matter. Say the growth of Telugu language up to 1000 AD or growth of Telugu language from 1000 AD to 1500 AD, then 1500 AD to say modern period. Like that, there may be thematic questions and also role of women. And similarly, in 2017, we have a question on how Brahma Samaj has influenced the social reform movements in Andhra. So questions could be on Veerasalingam or social reform, but how particular ideology has impacted. That is also an important. So today let's see the thematic question of ancient Andhra, that is growth of Buddhism and the spread of Buddhism, why it spread in Andhra and how it declined. So I have some PDF and points to share. Let me explain while sharing the PDF so that you will have more clarity. So friends, as you know, Buddhism came up in 6th century BC, right? It was founded by the Buddha, and after that it became a major religion in India. But what about Andhra? So friends, in the spread of Buddhism, Andhra played a very key role. Because if we see the overall picture of Buddhism, in the south, you compare with Tamil Nadu or you compare with Kerala or even, of course, Maharashtra, because of Shatavahanas, we do have Buddhism. But compared to deep south, whether Tamil Nadu or Kerala, Andhra had played a very key role in acting as a hub of Buddhism. And this was especially from 2nd century BC to 3rd century AD during the Shatavahanas, and after that, of course, we have Ikshvaku period, after which it declined. Okay. Now the point is that by 600s, that means by 7th century AD, Huyan Tsang did observe that Buddhism in Andhra on the decline, and of course subsequently it became a very very minor philosophy thanks to rise of certain other developments. But let us see one by one. If this question comes, we can have this introduction like this. And what are the key points that we need to see? Here we need to see the actual spread, then also the issue of what are the main centers and who are the patronizers, and philosophy. What is the philosophy? Reasons for popularity and decline. Let us go in an orderly manner. So friends, there has been some writings that Buddha had visited Andhra, but this is not substantiated in any standard books of history. There are two standard books. One is called Dissent and Protest by D.C. Sarkar. The other one is Social Dimensions of Buddhism by Uma Chakravarti. It's a very well-known established books by leading historians. And we do not have actual evidence other than the interpolations that Buddha did travel to Andhra. Anyway, you don't need not mention all these book names and others, but you can simply say that there is a view that Buddha visited Andhra, we have no evidence to say that Buddha traveled to south. Some interpreted that Huyan Tsang did say that, but it was just an interpolation. Okay. However, according to Buddhist literature, the earliest disciples of Buddha from Andhra were Dasamalla. Okay, was Dasamalla. His name is Dasamalla, and the Buddhist texts do refer some kind of names and names of literature and people here. One second. Names and people here. So the first name that you come across is Dasamalla. Then the second is that Buddhist texts such as Stutanipata and Vimana Vattu, this is a part of Kadavattu stories, Jataka stories, refer to Bharavi and Mahakachayana, who probably were involved in preaching of Buddhism in Andhra and Telangana respectively. This is possibly post death of Buddha. Then the clear credit for introducing Buddhism in Andhra, however, is go to Mahadeva Bhikshu, And this man is supposed to have lived around 380 BC. 380 BC is important because this was the year when the second Buddhist council was held, and this Mahadeva Bhikshu probably attended the second Buddhist council as well. Then of course Ashoka's time Buddhism spread further to south, including Andhra and down to Karnataka to an extent. Now Dharanikota's popularity, which is Dhanyakatak and later Amravati, Dharanikota's popularity as Buddhist center dates back to Mauryan period. And in fact Amravati Stupa could have been built even earlier than Ashoka, though it was one of the 12 Maha Dhatugarbha Stupas that were developed by Ashoka. But Amravati did become a center of Buddhism in the Mauryan period as well. Of course, Satvahana period had led to further entrenchment of Buddhism in Andhra, as you might have already studied. Despite being the patronizers of Brahminical religion, Satavahanas were secular in their outlook, and in fact, Krishna or Kanha is the first person who had donated to Buddhists according to Nasik inscription. I have not mentioned all the inscriptions here because it's not group 2, but some basic facts for analysis have to be mentioned. So I'm just telling you. The spread of Buddhism in Aryan culture. Now, why do we see that Andhra had become a better center for Buddhism than Tamil Nadu or Karnataka for that matter? Now, it is in the Satvahana period that we have the spread of Aryan culture to the south. That's why Satvahana kingdom has been called as Bridge Kingdom, okay, which bridges the gulf between north and south as far as the spread of Aryan culture is concerned. So, if that is the case, there are various reasons why Buddhism actually spread in Andhra. One is that the spread of Chaturvarna system or the Aryan culture did generate some kind of negative reaction, and we know that Satavahanas did patronize Brahminical religion and Varnashram Dharma, going by the titles of kings like Eka Brahmana and Agama Nilaya. So that also bound to generate. Secondly, trade and commerce. When Buddhism, Andhra became a hub of trade and commerce at this point of time, it is also important that these people, Vaishyas especially, and also the Shudras, artisans, they had money but they did not have social respect. So obviously they also patronized Buddhism. That is a second reason. The third point is that there is also a cosmopolitanism. In Andhra, the trade and commerce was so good that there was also some kind of cosmopolitanism. When in a cosmopolitan or urban area, people are not too bothered about Varna, and they might try out new ideologies. And the same thing has happened in Andhra. And of course, then the royal patronage. Right, as I already said, these are the causes for spread of Buddhism in Andhra, which you may read again after I explain. And then right from the second ruler to Ichwakus, Satavahanas and Ichwakus and all that, this has gained. Then Buddhist schools of philosophy. Okay, Buddhist schools of philosophy. Andhra had become a very good center for philosophical development and the canonical development of Buddhism. We have there is something called Chaitikavada where the symbols are worshipped. Buddha symbols are worshipped. This has later been, this is an essential part of Hinayana thing. Then within this we have subsects like Purvasaila, Aparasaila, Uttarasaila, Rajagirika and Siddhardika. But we do have sub-developments also. For example, if you see right from Amravati, we have different places where this Purvasaila and all this got established, but too much of actual things are not required in the main, so I have omitted them. And of course, then we do have Buddhist scholars like, say, for example, Acharya Nagarjuna. Acharya Nagarjuna himself had developed a new philosophy which is called Shunyavada or Majjhimikavada. And other Buddhist scholars from Andhra, popular one included Aryadeva and Bhava Viveka. These are some of the important Buddhist scholars that added to the popularity of Buddhism. Now, Ichwaku period, of course, is seen as the golden age for Buddhism in Andhra. Right from the time of Veera Purusha Datta, he is one of the important patronizers for Buddhism, along with his wives and aunts and normal women. In fact, a lot of donations. There is a lady called Upasika Bodhisri or Bodhisiri, a rich woman of a nephew of an official, Bhandagarika, but she also donated liberally. So the patronage from royalty of Ikshvakus such as Veerapurusha and of course others. Then the patronage from the royal women, leading royal women as well as common women also helped Buddhism to further spread in Andhra. And we do have Andhra is dotted with many Buddhist centers as well as universities. Nagarjuna had almost become a university near Nagarjuna Konda in those days. Amravati has become an educational center. But we see a lot of democratization of Buddhist ideology and Buddhist religion, Buddhist architecture in Andhra. Please mark this word, democratization. When we say democratization of Buddhist ideology or Buddhist, literature, Buddhist architecture in Andhra, we mean to say that it is freely taken by everybody without any royal push only. So we have a lot of centers. The maximum spread of Buddhism centers in Andhra shows this point. Some important we can mention such as Amravati, Nagarjunakonda, Battiprolu, Aduru, Gumaduru, Gantasala, Salihundam, Ramatirtham, Guddapalli, Goli, Rendachintala and so on. You can just mention some of them. Friends, the point here is that the last aspect for us is conclusion is that despite all this growth by post-Guptan period, the general decline of Buddhism in India, overall Indian scenario, also impacted Andhra, and here we do have the rise of Hinduism, especially Saivism in Andhra, that really made lot of impact, and Jainism was continuing to maintain as it is, but because of the decline of Buddhism, some people with like-minded approach preferred to join Jainism rather than Hinduism. So Jainism had developed because of that, but Buddhism did decline in Andhra. Friends, now though we don't have Buddhism in Andhra, of course in India as a major religion, Buddhism did get benefited from patronage of Andhras, and Andhra had significantly enriched the Buddhist culture, philosophy and its spread. It was this region, Andhra region, was one of the reasons for a splendid growth of Buddhism across the country, and this is a part of it. Okay, so thanks for this. We'll see the next topic, okay, in the later discussions. Very important question this is, so please be aware of